following announcement has been paid for by the
Mark Order.
Welcome to the Elite Mark Order podcast. If you haven't already, please give us a subscribe, press the like button, or leave a comment down below about your thoughts about last night's Dynamite. Join us in the Discord if you want to become an Elite Mark by going to EliteMarkOrder.com and click on the link in the description below. We've got a giveaway contest coming up soon, so stay tuned. I'm CosmicScott. I'm all alone tonight, and I'm talking about Dynamite from June 28th, 2023, from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Overall, this show was another fun one. There were some amazing spots. There were some great matches, some unexpected turn of events. And realistically, this is just another solid show. Is it for everyone? Clearly not, because there are parts that aren't going to appeal to everyone. Much like Lawyer Scott said, there's always a smorgasbord of different types of wrestlings during an AEW show. So I happen to think it was a tremendous show, and I'd like to start talking about that top segment. Now, for me, of course, it happens to be the main event between Sting, Darby Allin, Chris Jericho as the Painmaker, and the Spanish God, Sammy Guevara. Now, if you thought that a tornado format was going to protect Sting and help cover his weaknesses, you can really kiss that shit goodbye, because this match was crazy. This was, not only was it back and forth, but Darby Allin did Darby Allin things, threw himself all around. Sammy Guevara did Sammy Guevara things and did dives and leaps and, did 630 splashes from the corner. He's just crazy. However, Sting and Jericho dueled with their bats as an example. This match, because it was the tornado format, got a little crazy. Now, the end was not when Sting threw himself off a ladder and threw Sammy Guevara into some tables ringside. Oh no, that was not the end. That didn't even wipe Sting out completely. Even though he came up a bit short on the landing, they did wipe out Sammy. But the ending was an amazing sequence where there was a scorpion death drop from Sting, obviously, onto Jericho, and that got countered into a Walls of Jericho on Sting, and then that got countered with some assistance back into the Scorpion Deathlock, his version of the Sharpshooter, call it what you will, the Indian Deathlock, Scorpion Deathlock. I'm not doing this match justice. Go watch this thing. All of it was amazing, not just Sting diving from a ladder. Yes, that was the spot of the night. I'll talk about that in a second. But the fact is, this match was incredible. And realistically, you need to go and watch it for yourself. If I did ups and downs like Simon Miller does, I would give this 2 gold thumbs up. I thought it was that good. An amazing match by 2 older wrestlers. Jericho's in his 50s, Sting is in his 60s. 2 of the young bucks, 2 of the young crew coming up. Darby, who's nearly 40, and Guevara, who's of course in the prime, in his 20s, and killing it. So, the next generation is alive and well. This is a great cross-generational match. Jericho looked good. Sammy looked good. Everybody looked good. I love this match. And this is a great example of why the main events are often unexpectedly better than you would think. So stick around and don't, stop changing the channel. I know they're telling us every week all the matches we can expect, but sometimes it's good to watch them because they can be unexpectedly better than you might have thought. Now, the spot of the week. This week, it's brought to you by our sponsor, the Elite Mark Order, which is us. Now, today, we've got our very own shirt available at Zazzle.com, and our link is in the description below. Now, of course, you can also go to Zazzle, Zazzle.com/Elite Mark Order. You can get right to our store that way. The link is in the description, and it is the best way to support the channel. So go ahead and order one today and wear it proudly to the next event, theelitemarkorder.com. Be an Elite Mark and join us. Now, the spot of the week. comes during the main event, Darby Allin and Sting versus the Painmaker Chris Jericho and the Spanish God Sammy Guevara, as I mentioned. During the final minutes of this match, Jericho and Sammy were laid out temporarily. Sting and Darby took advantage and set up 2 tables side by side near the ringside area. Something was going on. They were going to do some damage. Then they put Sammy across the tables, and the plan was clear. Inside, Darby got a ladder, set it up, climbed, and intended to jump himself. But Sting climbed the other side and said, no, I'm going to jump. 63-year-old Sting jumped from the ladder inside the ring, over the ropes, onto the tables, down, and Sammy down below, wiping Sammy out for the rest of the match. Now, I cannot believe a 63-year-old man is still doing shit like this. He jumps from balconies, he jumps from ladders. He's choosing to do this. He came up a little short and hurt himself today. Maybe not anything permanent, but you got to respect the fact that he is 63. It's absolutely incredible that he's still able to do this, and it earns the spot of the week. Now, moving on to the main show, the show opened up with one of the hardest hitting matches. Once again, you're going to find, what a surprise, Jon Moxley. In this case, he happens to be going against Tomohiro Ishii, the Pitbull, the Stone Pitbull. The man is a walking refrigerator, a block of ice. He's also fantastic. Now, again, I'm not going to do a play-by-play. This match started with chops, and it pretty much ended with chops. The fighting spirit was alive and well in the strong style between Moxley and Ishii. This was great. Now, the story itself was when Eddie Kittenston came out to prevent Eddie Blackpool Combat Club shenanigans that they may try to pull against Ishii. Because they did team. Eddie is Ishii's friend, so he's out there to support him. Now, the entire time, Claudio is staring a hole right through the back of Kingston's head. He does not stop staring until much, much later. The whole match, he just stares at Eddie Kittenston. Now, again, I'm not doing a play-by-play. That is not what this review does. Did I like the match? Hell yes. Would I recommend somebody watch it? Yes, absolutely. If they say wrestling is fake, especially, show them this type of match. I often show people this match, this style of match, when somebody says it's fake. Then I ask, hey, how fake do you think those chest chops were? How about I go ahead and hit you with a Death Rider? Yeah, we'll see how well that works out. Needless to say, they don't talk much about it. I love Moxley, and this is a great example of the types of matches that he provides. Was there blood? Of course there was. They headbutted each other. Probably they really headbutted each other because these guys are crazy Japanese strong-style fighters. That's what Moxley loves. Anything crazy, the crazier the better. And this was, within AEW, not that crazy. I also happen to love Ishii the Pitbull because he has charisma that transcends language. It oozes through the television. And he's a joy to watch at 47. There is such a great respect given to the older wrestlers in AEW, the legends that come in and work alongside the younger, newer wrestlers. Has been incredible to watch the growth of people like Sammy. Darby, who already had his momentum building working with Sting, has really helped him move to the next level. Sammy has benefited tremendously from Jericho. Wardlow, he actually learned from MJF, strangely enough. So these associations are really building the foundation of the future. And I think Tony is really thinking ahead, and I happen to love it. Now, this match itself was amazing because, yes, eventually Moxley hit the Death Rider and won, but the story was Eddie Kittenston and Claudio. The story was 10, 15 years in the building. This story has layers, and I love that because they play into the history through all these other federations that these wrestlers have. They don't just erase it like some companies who I will not name. Now backstage, once again, they go to Renee. She's going to get a real workout. So again, first match, this is the first time they go to Renee. They're going to go to her a lot. This segment starts off with Adam Cole. They're in a garage for some reason, and they're almost immediately interrupted by a vehicle and MJF. Now, MJF's funny. He's playing up to Adam Cole because now they're partners, and if he can play with Adam Cole, he doesn't have to defend the title. It's an old Eddie Guerrero trick. He did it with Matt Hardy way back in the day in WWE, actually. So this is a trick that I think works well. MJF doesn't have to defend his title against Adam Cole as long as he's his partner. So he comes out, he's like, hey, playing sick to get out of Forbidden Door? That's genius. So he wants to be his friend. It's entertaining, of course. Adam is, he's a smart face. He's playing the angle. MJF is being smarmy to his new partner. He even got a new t-shirt made, already available on AEW t-shirts. And it was better than you, baby. So MJF is really running with this. Is it going to be a 2-week run of partnership, sort of like Y2 Jericho? Or is this going to be something that blossoms for a month or so? I don't know. I don't know what direction it's going. But once again, Adam Cole and MJF are being extraordinarily entertaining. So MJF wants to take Cole out on the town. We've seen these before. We're probably going to see a video package about this next week. However, I think this is fun and entertaining. So they come back from commercial for the next segment, and Renee is backstage with her husband and the Blackpool Combat Club. Kittenston comes in. There's a lot of screaming. There's a lot of shouting. Kittenston calls back his hatred of Claudio, stemming from something that happened in Chikara like 10 years ago. Moxley screams that nobody cares about that Chikara shit, and Eddie, the master that he is, screams with all his out, I care about the Chikara bullshit. He sells everything like it's real, because I think it might be real to him. I don't know. It's hard to tell, because he's a master, much like MJF, of keeping kayfabe, of not letting you know where reality starts and where acting begins. Backstage they know, but on camera, there's just no way to know. When he's on camera, he is on, and it's brilliant. This backstage segment with the BCC, with Eddie Kittenston, with Renee, with all the shouting, very real emotions that they're able to project into this, because the very real friendship that they've got between Moxley and Eddie Kittenston to play off of. Obviously, you're going to have Renee able to just shout at Eddie as she did, because she's comfortable with Eddie, because she knows the boundaries. She's able to play into it. Adds another level of verisimilitude, another level to that layer, to that onion, to that cake, that really tasty wrestling cake that Tony builds week after week, that we get to enjoy. A nice chocolate layer cake. Okay, I'm a little hungry. What can I say? Anyways, the next segment was Orange Cassidy in the locker room, once again with Renee. So there was clearly a commercial break between this. Renee is interviewing him, talking about his upcoming trios match, and he recruits the person literally standing next to him. Turns out that's Keith Lee. Keith Lee's like, yeah, okay, I got nothing else going on. He walks off camera, and there's Vikingo. Oh, hey, how about you, Vikingo? Sure. So there you go. That's his trio. The most OC way possible to recruit a team. And it turns out it was El Hijo del Vikingo and Keith fucking Lee to join the AEW International Champion Orange Cassidy in a trios match against the Jericho Ass Society. The Jericho Appreciation Society. Cool Hand Ange, Daddy Magic Mark Menard, and Daniel Garcia, the Dancing Fool. Now, this match did have a couple of great spots. The one I especially liked was Daniel Garcia dancing on the back of a prone Keith Lee. And he was doing his little thing with his hand in his face and his little hip swivel thing going on. And Keith Lee stood up with Garcia still on his back, still dancing. And then he stood all the way up, and Garcia fell onto his shoulders into a move. Now, it wasn't perfect, but it was still a really, really fun sequence showing just how powerful, just how massive Keith Lee is. There was another blown spot, once again, with Keith. He's having issues. It's a bit sloppy. Don't get me wrong. The match was sloppy, but fun. And that makes up for a lot. So the blown spot was Vikingo was going to dive outside, and Keith Lee was going to catch him in sort of the powerbomb position. And then he was supposed to use him like a battering ram, swinging him around, sort of like Luther does to Serpentico. However, with enough momentum, Vikingo knocked over Keith Lee. Didn't quite work. Keith got up, threw Vikingo into position, and did it anyways. Didn't give a fuck. However, would it have looked great? Yes, absolutely. It didn't quite get pulled off. Again, great big old fun sloppy match. I loved it. Shit happens. Doesn't matter. It was chaos and it was fun. Now, if you like goofy wrestling, then you're also going to like this match. Now, it ended with Keith Lee hitting the supernova on one of the members of JAS. It doesn't matter. He got the pin for the team. So it was a real, it was supposed to be a highlight of Keith Lee, I think. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out. This was a very rushed, not match, but entire episode. They barely talked about the lottery, the tag team lottery. The whole centerpiece of their world champion MJF is on that lottery tag team. But they announced OC Darby and Swerve and Keith Lee in a graphic and barely talked about it. So I'm not sure what they're doing with it. It's very confusing. The show itself was a little confusing. But you know what? Again, this match was confusing. This match was chaos. If you like goofy wrestling, you're going to like this match. And I happen to enjoy it. Now, we move on. Backstage, it's not Renee. It's Brandon Cutler with the camera for the Young Bucks and Hangman Page. The Elite, the Hung Bucks, offering an open challenge to any trios. Before they could get the open challenge out of their mouth, the Dark Order showed up. Uno, Silver, and Reynolds. All that's left of the Dark Order. Stu got rehired. He's in ROH. He's already quit Dark Order. They come in, and they get in the face of Hangman. They talk about how they basically got abandoned by Hangman. They talk about their whole history. Hangman's very hesitant to actually get involved in a match with them. This story has gone on for years, but most of it hasn't been on TV. Dark Order's been relegated to wrestling on Dark and losing on Dynamite when they do show up. And the only character work that they ever got to do was on BTE, being the Elite, the YouTube channel. Now, it was great work. I loved it. And I enjoy what I saw, but I'm a very tiny percentage of the overall audience. And this story is so good, so layered, so long, so thorough, so intricate, so entertaining. It deserved TV time. It deserved a lot more than what little it got. These guys put their heart and soul into the match, and they wrestled like it mattered. And it did matter. So they go on from the backstage with Brandon Cutler to another backstage segment. And this one is with Renee. And now she's talking with Chris Jericho and Sammy, who's basically there to just stand there the whole time. I guess he's not turning face because he's gladly willing with Jericho and cheated in the last match. So I don't know. Jericho does his Jericho thing, and he says tonight against Sting, for the first time ever in any ring, throughout all of the time that they both wrestled, they've never faced each other. And as a result, he's going to have Sting face the Painmaker. and something about rubbing his face in the dirt or whatever. I guess Jericho really doesn't want to feel left out of the face paint gang. Because, Darby's got his half face paint. Sting's had face paint, made his career famous. And the only face paint that Jericho has is Painmaker. So I guess that's why he got his Painmaker. So that he could be included in that little fun entertainment. But we know how it goes. We know Jericho gets the shit beat out of him. But it was still fun for Jericho backstage. Now, on to the trios match, which is the Dark Order against the Hung Bucks, the Elite. Now, the Dark Order has been done dirty. I've said this. Before Brody Lee, they were kind of a joke. Once Brody Lee, God rest his soul, he showed up, they were serious, they were legit, they were growing, they were fucking over. And after his unfortunate passing, they really, after about 6 months, they were relegated to a joke. And they were the only time they were ever really featured. Their BTE stuff was great, but he at least got TV time for some of it. The match itself was fantastic. I wish the Dark Order would get more TV time. I said last time when Evil Uno faced Jon Moxley, that was a badass Evil Uno. And I want more of that. In this match, we got to see some amazing tag between Silver and Reynolds, as always. But the real story of the match was Hangman. Because the match started with Hangman versus Silver. Silver got in his face and he hit him. And, he was really just trying to rile him up. Hangman was reluctant. He tags out. Later on, and Silver tags out. Later on in the match, Hangman gets in again, gets in the face a little bit, and then turns out reluctant. He backs out. He tags out again. But by the end, he's the one who hits the finisher on John Silver. So they totally bookend the match. And he gets the pin. So the story of the match is Hangman being reluctant to start, but by the end, he's the one who finishes it. And they destroy Silver. They really do. He gets the absolute bejesus worked out of his he gets the BTE trigger, and then he gets the buckshot lariat, and then he gets pinned. However, as the story continues, by the way, I want to say, the double team sequence that Reynolds and Silver have put together, they've hit it a few times. Every time I see it, it's fucking amazing. There's a suplex, there's a kick, I can't even describe the entire sequence. I hope it shows up in AEW Fight Forever soon. And the fact is, it's an amazing sequence. They did get to shine. They had the opportunity to show once again they are one of the best tag teams in AEW, maybe in all of wrestling. They are phenomenal, and they get no love. It's a real crime, and I'm really happy that they got some TV time this week. Now, after their loss, they start to console John. Hangman comes over. They push him away. The BCC attack. They wipe out the Elite and start putting their boots to them. They don't attack Dark Order. Uno and Reynolds gather up Silver, watch as the Elite get beaten down for a bit, and then exit the ring. They do nothing. And that is the story of that match. They just leave the Elite to be destroyed. Now, Takeshita was in with the BCC along with Callis, so it's the full team. But nobody really knows, has Takeshita actually joined the BCC? Don't know. I love heel Takeshita. I love face Takeshita. But he's starting to look cool. He's starting to get that swagger that those heels can get when they start to really elevate their game. And I think he's ripe. He's ripe for a real strong championship type run real soon. So he's looking good. Glad to see Takeshita just hanging out with the BCC. Mox gets the mic. He challenges the Elite to a blood and guts match in Boston. Okay then. They're laying, basically dead at his feet. Now, there is an exchange at one point. Eddie Kinston apparently came out, got involved in the beatdown, and I don't know. Apparently he was, report is he was being beaten in background as Moxley had his back turned. So Claudio was beating him down. Mox didn't care because he turned his back. So either way, it was a good segment, led into blood and guts. We'll see what happens with Danielson being hurt. We move on, and now Cole is back in the garage waiting for MJF. Roderick Strong comes out, and they go back and forth. Obviously, they're close friends. Roderick calls Adam out for being friends with MJF. Quote, "You know he's going to stab you in the back, right?" Cole's agreeing, but he's a little hesitant. Then MJF shows up and basically just hurries Adam Cole into the car and out before Roddy is really satisfied. So they're building up a little bit of will they, won't they with Adam and with Roderick, and we'll kind of see where that story goes. Good for Roderick. He's involved with Cole, who's involved with the world title. Let's see how interesting this is. MJF is gonna put off wrestling as long as he can for the title, for the world title, and maybe they win the tag titles. Hard to know, but I am intrigued. I am gonna keep watching. I absolutely love this team. Now they did talk about the very next portion was a video package talking about Jack Perry and his heel turn on Hook, and next we got a wild Jungle Boy sighting, and he's got a microphone. Now, Jungle Boy's music hits. Jungle Boy comes out, and the crowd goes mild. No reaction. Jericho is a heat. People still sing his songs. For Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, nothing. He is not connected yet, and right now, his old persona is gone. As a matter of fact, during this promo, he even says he's killing his music. So we'll see what happens with that. He comes out, and according to reports, he's wearing his father's old bomber jacket and his father's old sunglasses. I liked the look. I thought it looked pretty cool, kind of heelish, before I knew that he was basically just taking his dad's stuff. He slides the glasses down to the edge of his nose, the bridge of his nose for a second, gives the camera this look. And again, according to reports, that's something that his father did at one point, a very similar photo from Luke Perry, his father, as Jack Perry is his son. So, I don't know. If his entire new character is about his father, is basically just copying his father's look, I don't think that's very good. I'm going to have problems getting into that character. Now, he did try to rip into the audience, tried to get some responses, did basically classic Christian heel stuff. He even kind of looked like Christian in the way he was dressed with the kind of looked like a turtleneck. A lot of people thought that he looked like he was dressed like Christian. A lot of people think he's going to join back up with Christian. I'm one of them. So he starts talking about the town, tries to get some local town heat. The real stinger, the one comment that stood out for me was when he talked about banging the hottest bitch in the company. And that's Anna Jay. And he's really not wrong. She's extraordinarily attractive. So, he's playing up that heel portion. Now, the best wrestling persona is yourself turned up to 11. I don't think this is the real Jack Perry. This is just another persona. He tried to connect with the audience. I don't know that it's working. I do know that he talked a lot of smack about Hook. Hook eventually came out, ran him off, and it looks like we're getting some sort of program with Hook and the FTW belt against Jack Perry. Now, Jack needs a serious shakeup. He's losing the music. Good. He's got to lose the Jungle Boy part. Maybe he keeps the Jungle part, loses the boy, goes to Jungle Jack Perry, and gets TK to buy the rights to Welcome to the Jungle from Guns N' Roses. And then the next pay-per-view, they can actually have Guns N' Roses sing Jungle Boy, Jack Perry to the ring with Welcome to the Jungle live for the audience. I know it's probably not going to happen, but think about it if it did. It's somewhere like Wembley. You get Guns N' Roses to do a song live. Something like Welcome to the Jungle. I think that would be pretty fucking awesome. That's good shit, pal. That'd be sure to get him over. That was a bad imitation, in case you didn't realize, of Vince. Now, at the end of the segment, after Hook chases off Jack Perry, Taz, because of the stuff that Jack was saying about Hook, ran him down. Basically, he had his glasses off, kind of looked at the camera and said, "You're dead, right? You know that. You're dead." Taz so sold this segment. It was brilliant. It was great. And I'm looking forward to this now. I really am. I don't think that Jack is quite at the level to carry the speaking portion, but neither is Hook. So, I don't know. We'll see how that works out. Next is the women's segment, because they only get one. Ruby Soho versus local talent, Alexa Nicole. She's apparently a local Canadian. Good for her. Ruby, of course, beat her accordingly. It's hardly a surprise. It's an enhancement match. Good momentum builder for Ruby, and a good showcase for her. After the match, she actually cut a really good promo against Britt Baker, who happened to be sick this week. She got what Adam Cole had last week, or for Forbidden Door. Now, she sold her match with Britt much more so than just having the match. So I think that Britt being sick may actually be the best thing for this match. I'm anticipating it next week, and I hope that Ruby gets her receipt and gets to go over Britt and face off for the Women's Cup, because Britt beat her last year. Next, they played a video package with QTV and the Acclaimed, where Bowens told the Aussie girl that he's gay, and the crowd chanted "he's gay" at the top of their lungs in full support. Of course, they had to replay that segment. It was nice to see again, and, it is still Pride Month, so they definitely need to showcase that, and congratulations, Bowens. He's gay. QTV then showed off their new muscle, Johnny TV, Johnny Television. Used to be Johnny Nitro, used to be Johnny this, Johnny that, Johnny Lucha, Johnny Elite, who knows? Now he's Johnny TV. And he's on QTV. Well, at least he doesn't suck as a wrestler, but I don't know that it's going to do him any favors. And that was it. That actually led into the main event, and I have already covered that. So if you are still with me, thank you so much. Please join us. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. Join us at EliteMarkOrder.com. Go ahead and buy us a shirt from Zazzle.com/EliteMarkOrder. And you know what? If you're still listening, I would normally say JJ for life, but today it's going to be Solo Scott signing off.